This is the Ylands Editor Part 2. If you've missed Part 1, then make sure to click on the link on top or check out for more islands onto my channel. And for today, I'll show you two things. One, how to make something round like a wheel, steering wheel, water wheel, Ferris wheel, or something without the name wheel, and that is rotor blades, roof pieces, you name it. And the second thing will be how to randomize things without too much of a work. The first thing we are going to do is we're going to make sure that we have a center point, because a center point is very important when you want to make something round. In order to do that, we're going to take a block, and I like to use wooden blocks. I'm going to take this wooden block, and as you can see, it goes a little bit smooth. We need to turn on grid mode. In order to turn on grid mode, we press a V. How to see else if the grid mode is turned on or off? Well, on the top you can see these are no more available. So if I press V, this means free place. V, this means grid mode, and you can also see it right down here how it changed. So on grid mode, we place this thing right down here. After that, you can see this. If not, then press spacebar. And what we see is that the middle point of this block is at the side of the block, and we would like to have it in the middle. How are we going to do that? Well, we're also going to work with groups, because with groups you can edit a lot of stuff, and or you can select one thing and select all of the things to say. How do we do that? Well, if this is closed up at you, just open it, and here it says create group. And after we create group, you see down here edit group pivot, because the group itself also has a middle point, even though it might look like it is the one of this block. So click on this, and now as you can see, we got a few lesser options. Now the thing here is, how do we calculate all of this and make sure that we got the middle point of the group? Well, there is one thing you must do first. I'm going to press an escape, and with this block being selected and the group, you can see the position is off the center of the map itself, because the map has also a 0 point. Let's make sure that this block is at the 0 point of this map. It is very simple, the position here. Let's make a 0, and as you can now see, it has moved perfectly up to the center of the map. Now let's go back to edit group pivot. If you have grid mode still on, it's going to be / is very simple. You just grab this red arrow and you move it up once aside. Then you can see it is now -375. All we have to do right now is select it, press Ctrl C of copy. Then you can go into Windows, grab your calculator for the people who are brain tired of, doing stuff or lazy to say. Then press Ctrl V. Then press this one and that one. I don't know what this is called in English. And then you have calculated the exact middle point. So now you can just Ctrl V and press enter. You got the exact middle point of left and right, which is called the X line. Now we also have to do that with this blue line, which is in this case called a Z line. That is just how Unity works, and that is not something the developers decided. So the blue line, and I've also talked with the developers, I asked him to make this blue, this red, and this green, so keep an eye out for the future. Do the same thing down here. Select it, Ctrl V, and then press enter, and now we have exactly the middle of this little block down here, or at least the group, so not the block itself. All there is left to do is press enter to confirm, and now it's exactly in the middle. But before continuing, you must know if you move this block, the middle point will move too, and it will move to the grid. Allow me to show you. In order to copy, do Ctrl D. And if I move this up, you can now see that the middle point has moved up to one of the crosses or plus, and that you can no longer move this block between in, as this block is between in two blocks. As you can see, I'm going to try to perfectly put this right down there. I can't. So keep that in mind. And with that being also said, once you have a block with the middle point always make a copy. Yes, there are still two ways of aligning blocks. Allow me to show you why you don't want to move the block instantly. Because if I take another wooden block, it will still perfectly fit to this block that hasn't been moved just yet. But what if this block has moved for some reason in your project and you need to align something? Well, there is only one thing actually you can do, as far as I know. If someone else knows a better way, to let me know in the comment section. I will really appreciate that. Well, in this case, I would just say use this block, make a new one, and then connect it up. But what if you make the whole artwork and you just need to add one more block for whatever reason? The thing you can do here, and keep in mind the middle point of this block is on this side, while the middle point of this block is on this side. It is turned around. So what you have to do is grab this block, place it out here, create a group, go into group private, just add the same values, and now it should be fine. Press on enter, and now you can move it up and it's connected the same way. But in this case we have one which is not off the grid, so in this case, like I said, we always want to save up one of these things. Now the next thing we are going to do is we're going to add this block to this group. So click on this block, then add to group and click this group. And what we're also going to do is we're going to go into this group and remove the first block. Keep in mind this group has its own pivot point. So we're going to edit group, then select this guy. Always unselect just a minute by clicking an empty field. Then select this guy, press on delete. Once you're done, you see escape to cancel. What you do, you click on one of the blocks in the group and then stop editing the group. So you can see the middle point is still there. There are reasons for this in this case, but sometimes you can just leave it. In my case, I just want to remove it because I don't want to have too many blocks at the same point centered, because it will only show a glitchy texture. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to rotate this stuff on such a way that you have something between in. What I mean by that, if I would press Ctrl D to copy the same block, press on spacebar, get the rotation option and move this up, you can see it is not going to be between in, and I would like to have one between in here. The way how to do that is use a free place mode, which might sound a bit weird because if I would move the block, it's not really going to go tightly. There's one thing we can do about that. First of all, if you press Ctrl Z, you can place it back where it belongs. Free place mode also has its own grid mode, which is this one down here. If we turn this on, now it needs to have something, certain degree angles. If I would move this now, you can see it moves at a point which I want. Why is that so? Well, if you click on this guy right down here, you can see here angle step. The angle step is 45 degrees. On grid mode, the angle snap is always 90 degrees. So in free place mode, if you turn angle snap on, you can choose 45, 15 or 5 or none. In this case 45 is what we want, because if I do Ctrl D and place one out here, you can see we have one between in. I'm just going to copy all of these and just, show you something. Alright, now I've copied it all the way around and I would move a little bit. You can see the texture is glitching out. Now there is a certain rule for the texture. As long as the texture with the same color crosses the other texture with the same color, it won't glitch out. Let me just show you. I'm going to select this block, go to edit group, make sure it is in free mode. So turn off the grid off free place. And I'm just going to place it on such a way that it's still touching this block, but it stays on the outline of the block. If I stop editing, deselect the block, move, you can see that here is no glitching out type of situations. But that is good, that is what we want. So in this case, I can remove all of these. I can just select this block, Ctrl D, make sure it is turned on, or that it's not turned off. So there are certain reasons why I'm doing things like this, to show you the problem, show you solution, the way how it works, what to do and what not to do. And as you can see right now, once we move, we don't see any glitchy stuff. That's just the way how it works, that you cannot just have everything touch each other and go through each other because of the textures glitching through each other. Now there is a way how we can fill up this little hole down here before I'm showing you how you can do the outside ring. What we can do is very simple, you could say. We could take one of these blocks, turn grid mode on, and then we're gonna get kind of a problem. But there is a thing we can do in order to solve this problem. Let's first place this thing down. Then create a group and first edit the pivot point. So edit group pivot. Now because this is a block that is bigger than the small square block, it has 2 by 2 grid options. As you can see, 1, 2 and 1, 2. What we want to do is place it exactly in the middle, then press enter. Now it's in the middle. Now we can use the same value which we gave in the first block. Like I said, it might be confusing, but we still have the values. So if we go here, we press Ctrl V, we have the same values which we used in the group in order to change the pivot point of the very first block. So if I fill in all of those coordinates, you can see it is now perfectly in the middle. And because it's on grid, we just put it down once. And there you go, it is perfect. Alright, let's fill in the side of the wheel. And in order to do that, I'm going to remove all of these guys except for this one down here. Because for this one down here, we'll take care that I know what the distance needs to be between these blocks. Later on, we move that one, and then this between in piece, we're going to add it to the group of that guy. Now, I can already tell you that you should never take something that is way too big for the gap, because that is not going to fit in and it will stick out on this side or this side. That's not going to work. So we're going to take something that doesn't fit in at all, because if needs, we can copy the same block and make it longer. Also make sure your grid mode is on, because then you already are angled against the side of the block. Of course, place it down, then check out where the rotation point is. It is right down here. I want to turn it around and make sure it's hugging the block again. Then turn on free place mode and just eyeball this out. And what I think works the best is when you're just about to see the line again, like right down here. If you see the line, that means it's sticking out. If you don't see the line, it means that you have a tiny little that it's too much inwards. Of course, the more you zoom in, the more precisely you can work. Alright, now before we going to put this block in position, I know it is too short, so I'm going to select this guy. Now free place mode also has a grid mode. The thing here is grid mode itself, when you press V, isn't always working once you already been messing around for too much. What I mean by all of that stuff is you can see that this pole down here is not hugging this line anymore. That means it is off the grid. So in this case, I'm going to take this position because I'm going to need to work with this line down here. So first select this one, hold Ctrl, select that one, press on spacebar to get rotation mode, make sure the angle snapper is turned off, and now we're going to aim this out on I. I think this would be kinda is perfect. Always make sure you check it out. Now the thing here is you can never ever have this a 100% aimed out. That's because these blocks are not made for this. It is like you work with grids and that kind of stuff, and if you do things that are not meant for that, you're going to, get this kind of stuff. But if you look from this distance, you can not see that it's not perfectly lined up. So keep that in mind. It is what it is. Right, now it is way too long. What we can do here is we select this block, make sure it is on movement mode, and as you can see, this is going to be too much for messing around. What we can do is click on this globe, which we can turn on and off the movement of the block itself. Now it has the movement of the block. If I put it on globe, it has the movement of the world itself, but the block is not lined up. Alright, just turn it on that it's aligned with the block, and now if we turn this off, by the way, you can perfectly aim this out. But at least so far it allows us to aim this out like that, and look at it. Now it is perfect, or is it? Well, sometimes you can have, yep, you see it like glitching out textures there. Now the real only thing you can do, and this is also a thing in other games, and it was also in Planet Zoo, you will have to move the block a small touchy up or down. So what I do, I just move it down until I don't see it sticking through. Just like that. Now of course you can see a line, but is it a really bad thing? If you need to choose, what would you like? Glitching textures or just a little bit off a line like that? Alright, now you can check it again, hold your right mouse button, move it a little bit. You know, I think it's fine. Now if there's some textures glitching out here, you can just move this block a touch more down so it's not perfectly aligned with this block down here. But in my case, I'm going to keep it like that. Now, like I said before, I'm going to remove this guy. Now, hold Control, select this one and that one, add to group, select the group, and now it's within the group. Why groups? Well, the thing here is I only have to select one thing here, and I selected all of these things. That is super handy. Not only like that, let me just show it to you. If I would place this here and I want to select all of these blocks, if I hold Console and double click on here, it will select all of these blocks except for the blocks in the group. Sometimes you don't want everything, even though you want everything. You know, get what I'm saying? Also, if we would go into the group and deselect by clicking on a field, hold Console, double click, it will select all of these blocks within the group except for all of the blocks that are not in the group. That's why working with groups has benefits. I had to Google that for a second. So in this case we click once, then make sure the angular is turned on and that it's also on the correct angle, 45 degrees. Then Shift D to copy, press spacebar so you get rotation mode if it wasn't already, and there you go. And there you go. Look at it. We made something round. And the thing is, this is just something flat. You can also do inclined roof pieces, and there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do with this way of working, I would say. But there is one thing that you must know before you save this up as a blueprint, because if I would select all and then save as a blueprint, and then have this one, click on next, it will complain that group is not valid for use in game blueprint creation. Or with other words, we need to break the group. But I would first like to show you something. I'm first gonna break this group separately. So break the group. Then I'm gonna select everything and break the group. Now what happens here is it will break all of the groups, but it also unselect everything that wasn't a group. This guy wasn't a group. If I would save this as a blueprint, you can kind of see that a piece here is missing. So after breaking groups, make sure you select everything again. And now you can see it's selected. Save as blueprint, give it a name, and yeah, enjoy your round wheel. Now before I'm going to show you how you can make a lot of random stuff without too much of a problem, I just need to also say that before you break groups, make sure, at least for one thing, you make a copy and just place it out there. So if you would break the group and you need to use the same technique but you need to change something, then you can just easily reuse this guy, because now this block has lost its middle point. Alright, how do we randomize stuff with different colors without too much of a work? Because normally, for an example, let's take hay, you would grab something, you would place it down, and then you would move it like this, press Shift D, press spacebar, move it like this, spacebar, move it like that. That's just way too much work, right? So the second thing you could do is select this thing, then make use of F, G, and H, just like in adventure mode. So you just do that, you do that, you do this, right? But what if you're busy for a while, you select it all, and you gave it like a pink color, and now you want to have more, the colors has changed. Well, in this case, very simple. Take the picker, click on one of these, and it works the same as you did before after you clicked on this one. And on this way, you can also move some stuff like this, like that, and then you can just very easily do Shift D and just randomize some stuff to get a whole bunch of crazy things. This is actually what I did when I made my fryer boat, when I had to put in a lot of fries. Just like that, I took care that everything was just randomized, and I've also used it for another project. This guy right down here. Here I had to place different kind of pieces of hay, and I was getting tired of having to recolor a lot of stuff. So it helped me out a lot, the picker. And there is one more thing I would like to show you as bonus, and that is if you press O, you can get a character and test out certain things without having to press on test onto the right top of the corner, or you have to go out, put the blueprint into your adventure mode map and build it first, and then discover you can actually not get underneath the door or jump on something. If you want to get rid of it, escape, and there you go. Alright, if you guys have seen something that could have been way more handier, or you got some tips and tricks, or you're very thankful that I made this video, then let me know down below in the comment section. In the next part, I'm going to show you all about building a ship, what kind of problems you can face, and how to solve these problems. With a big thanks to Yo Has Lego.